All right. Okay, we gotta restart. All right, here we go. Why, hello.
Hey there.
So I have some sad news.
Yes.
On our second sub-zero temperature cold front, my bees were taken out.
Yes.
So we are beeless.
Hive number 2.
Yeah.
Because the first one we think died on the first cold snap. And then it looked like there was hope on the white hive, but then the white hive didn't make it.
Yeah, it was pretty warm yesterday, and when I didn't see him buzzing around, this particular hive has a window that you can kind of open up to look on the inside and see what's going on.
Yep.
So I opened the window up just so that I didn't, open up a hive with a bunch of bees in it that are cold. But yeah, I looked, there was no activity, so yeah, we broke down the hives, and I've pulled probably like 14 to 16
Bars.
Yeah, of some honey, some comb. Something that you try to do as a beekeeper when the bees lay generations of brood, they use a cocoon, and every fresh egg gets a fresh cocoon, but over time it becomes really black and dark, and it's good to try to get that out of there. So a lot of times I try to rotate the black comb to the back where the bees will hopefully fill it with honey. But they also really like laying eggs in black brood comb. So it's hard to like get them to stop. So I took this as an opportunity to basically go through and grab like all of the black comb, pull it out. And as you're seeing, we've done a little bit of melting of trying to harvest the wax. But on this black comb, there's so many cocoon layers. It's like it has very structurally like very little wax left, and it presents a problem of surface area as you're melting the wax, that there's so much surface area with all of these little cocoons in there that it's hard to get the wax to even depart because it's clinging to the surface. So we haven't gotten a whole lot of wax out of this so far, but it looks like I have probably a quart and a half of honey so far.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad, and it's not going to be honey that we probably share with anyone, just because of how
crystallized / caramelized.
Yeah.
Now that I used a heat gun on it to escalate the process, because that's what I do.
Right? Yeah, I'm like, we're not sharing this with anyone. This is our family's honey. I mean, it tastes great. It looks correct, but it is going. I think as soon as I'm done processing it out of these bars, which is so messy and it's very laborious, but I think it is gonna probably crystallize pretty quick. Which is fine for those of you who have seen crystallized honey in the store. It does not mean that the honey is bad.
Nope.
Honey is a type of sugar, and it just means that it's going through a natural process setting into crystallization.
Yeah.
So it's just as good, and it's almost even easier to handle than like liquid honey when it's crystallized. You just made a face.
Well, I like liquid honey. I do.
Crystallized. American.
Crystallized is okay, but
I think I prefer crystallized because you can get like a nice little mound of it and it's not dripping, and it goes into usually my hot beverages, or smoothies. Oh, my husband just made a face looking over my shoulder. So I look over my shoulder and I have Black Panther behind me.
Hi, Black Panther. Go downstairs, Black Panther.
That was a Christmas stocking gift.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm sad. I actually ordered a new package of bees already because we have 2 hives, and bees, once you know how to manage them, and frankly, like I left quite a few of the not blackened comb in there, so they're going to have less work to do. It's just like a no-brainer. It's, and then we won't have to worry about them swarming this year because they're going to be settling into a new home.
That sounds nice.
Getting carny bees, so they should make it through next winter unless we have this unexpected cold snaps. I was about to say ungodly, but it isn't ungodly.
It's from God.
This has been a really hard winter. This has been a hard winter.
Yeah.
We've had 2 like sub-zero. One, the first one was horrible. We've talked about that one. Last weekend while you were on retreat, it got below 0. And we've never, in my adult memory, I think this kind of stuff happened when I was a kid, but typically it snows here in Colorado, and then the sun comes out and it melts all the snow. So, you can shovel just a little bit, but you don't have to shovel everything because the sun's going to eventually melt it all.
Yep.
And that has not happened since Christmas until
Not
really
really
this weekend.
Yeah, and we're supposed to get more snow tomorrow.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The last I heard it was a 10% chance, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, that's Colorado weather. Those of us who live here, it's very capricious. So they predict 90% certainty of some kind of precipitation, and then nothing comes. Or they don't predict any precipitation at all, and we get like hammered.
2 feet of snow.
Yeah. Happens here.
Yeah. It's the most what do you call it? No job security. If you're a meteorologist, don't come to Denver. You have the worst job security ever. Yeah.
Although if you're a meteorologist and you're just studying weather, it's a really great place to be.
Yeah. Because we have tons of those NexRad, radar, Doppler, dome thingies.
And they do a lot of wind testing with
wind turbines.
Remember? Yeah. Well, they test all kinds of wind turbines in this particular site. I think it's an NREL site.
Oh yeah.
National Renewable Energy Laboratory. But it's in this particular place where wind will go at all directions, all kinds of speeds. So I think it's a nice place to live if you're wanting to study weather, but it's not a good place to try to predict weather.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, I'm Dale.
I'm Kit.
Welcome to Catholic Hitch. We are a Catholic family seeking heaven and hoping to pick up others along the way.
Small talk.
I'm feeling my cold. It's nasally, so I apologize. I am nasally. I'll try to not be as best I can.
So you're doing Big Talk. Are you going to be talking about your retreat on the Big Talk?
That's what you told me I should do, so I'm going to do that.
So now we get, I guess I can talk about small talk, a little bit of what the family's been up to since you were gone for about a week with a check-in.
Yeah. Did we podcast last weekend?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we did, but it's been such a flash of what's happened. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you had back-to-back retreats, which is crazy. So, yeah, you were in for 2 nights, essentially. And then you were back out again. And then you were back home.
Let's see.
On Friday.
2 dinners and 3 nights. Is that right?
No,
not even that. 2 nights. So 2 dinner. No, 1 dinner then. And that was it.
No,
Sunday
night, Monday night. Oh, but you were at Taekwondo.
I was at Taekwondo, so you didn't see me again.
I know.
And then Tuesday, I'm on retreat.
Yep. That's been pretty wild.
Cray.
Yeah, so while you've been gone, you're going to be talking about what you did.
Yeah.
The kids and I held down the fort, and I am definitely getting hugely pregnant, so I'm slow and tired all the time.
Yes, you are.
Impromptu stranger asked me if I was having twins at Walmart today.
Sweet.
It always starts happening.
Yep.
I'm like, well, when she said, "Oh, you're about due any day," and I'm like, 7 more weeks, and she's like, "Are there twins in there?" And I say, "No." I just carry large. So yeah, that's part of pregnancy life. #preg life for me.
I think it's not that you carry large; it's that all other women carry small, and that's their problem.
I am the benchmark. Standard. I like it. I mean, it is. It's just the way it is.
This is what comes when I go on retreat. I learn how to pivot.
Yeah, I'm tall at least. So, the weight that I gain gets rather evenly placed across a large, tall body. So that part's good. But yeah, my belly it gets big. So it slows me down. I just can't walk as fast. I get tired. So we, as much as possible, kind of just rested. But in the middle of the week, we did a lot for faith formation, which was fun. So that was a family night.
Yes.
So my family night was prayer stations, and it was about tools for prayer. And part of the timing for this family night was right before Lent. And the intention is, we're exposing families to maybe some new tools for prayer, and that maybe they can consider, going into their Lenten fast with these add-ons instead of it being like, I'm giving up chocolate again. Be like, I'm going to say a decade of the rosary every day.
Right. No, it's perfect timing because it's early enough that you can kind of marinate a little bit before people have to make a decision and do something. Because otherwise you just go, oh, Lent's coming. And then all of a sudden, oh, Ash Wednesday's here.
Yeah.
I'll give up chocolate. And that's as far as you get,
So I said several times that, the intention with this is that, this is placed in a nice position before Lent, and that maybe you can, be exposed to something new that might capture your imagination as a family. So there were 3 stations that were rotated between. One was praying with beads, one was praying with apps, and the other was a sanctuary tour. So my blessed parents taught, mostly my mom, but my dad was there for backup. They taught the praying with beads station.
They're bead warriors.
They are bead warriors.
It makes perfect sense for them to do that.
In a way, it was hard. So it was 15-minute lessons because we rotated 3 groups in 1 hour, given 5-minute travel time between station areas. Said 15 minutes. And my mom kind of looks at me, and I had given her sort of a lesson plan, wanting to cover the rosary, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Chotki, or Jesus prayer with, from the Eastern tradition.
Yes.
And I actually purchased a Chotki, like an actual one. So we have that now. It's
Cool.
just at my office. And my mom looked at the 3 things that she needed to cover and all the other little things that I on there. And she was like, can I just cover the rosary? Because it's a lot to cover those 3 prayers in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I want to start with the rosary because it's going to be the most important. But we have talked about the rosary before. And I'm hoping that, the kids remember from last year a little bit of the rosary.
Yeah.
So I'd love, families to know more about the Divine Mercy. And then the Chotki, which goes with the Jesus prayer. And it's a breathing prayer. Mm-hmm. So it's much more mental prayer that you can breathe with. And thought maybe that's going to capture someone's imagination. And it's, it's Catholic still. It's just from a different tradition than we're used to. But my mom did such a great job. She's amazing. They really made it their own lesson, which was nice. Yeah, I had lots of compliments about my mom, and she was referring to me as Catherine, and people Catherine's over there, and they kind of squinted,
look over,
and they're like, who is Catherine? And someone finally was like, is your name Catherine? I'm like, yep. And my parents didn't name me Kit. I named myself Kit. So that was a lot of fun. And I taught a praying with app station. So we just covered hollowinformed.org. And then Deacon did a sanctuary tour, and it was really cool. So he really talked about the delineation between the nave and the sanctuary. And then he brought everyone up onto the sanctuary and talked about our altar, talked about the fact that we have a relic in there of, Seton. Shoot.
St. Elizabeth Ann Seton?
Elizabeth Ann Seton. I wanted to say Mary Seton, and I'm like, that doesn't seem right. So yeah, apparently the relic is of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had a relic in our altar top. I'm not surprised. It's from the 60s, so it should have a relic, but we don't talk about it.
I know. And the last I had heard, the last altar tour I participated in, there was some uncertainty as to who it was that was in the reliquary. But I guess, it's St. Elizabeth Ann Seton.
Okay.
And either it definitely is or it will be now. And we won't know until
I'm sure somebody dug up something and figured it out.
It has to be in a record somewhere.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, my goodness.
For sure it would be, so...
So yeah, he showed where it is
good.
on basically where the consecration happens, right in front of the priest. There's a little place where I assume the marble can be removed, and then the relic is there.
It's sealed into it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very fine.
Yes.
So yeah, he did a nice tour of the sanctuary, so that was a lot of fun. I had good comments from families that this was really, it was good for them. I've heard from families in the past that they prefer some movement when we have family nights, so I was trying to accommodate that a little bit. And the kids, our youngest 3, so our oldest was kind of a volunteer. She was the bell ringer and 5-minute warning giver.
Nice.
And the others just took themselves around the stations twice in a row.
Cool.
So they did a nice job. They were little orphans going around the stations, just the 3 of them. So I didn't realize that until they came into my station and they were all together and they were reasonably well behaved. So
Very cool.
yeah, that was the middle of my week. And I feel like the rest was kind of some recovery from that.
Yeah. And then the huge.
Yeah, then the huge. So we've done a lot of cleaning today. Praise be God. Thank you.
Sure. You're welcome. Big talk. Sorry. Yeah. So while you were having fun with faith night, family night, I was going basically from 7:30 to 8:30, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. each day. And we had breaks in between, you know. So this was it's the Acts 29 leadership, not a retreat, not a conference. It's like a
Symposium?
a gathering in order to build us up as team building week. It's not like it's a retreat. I mean, there were some aspects of definitely for each individual to help build them and to heal wounds and to get them closer to Christ. Because if you're not in alignment there, then you can't be a good leadership team for your parish.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of,
Comes from, there's
right.
one primary.
That's right. If Peter, James, and John are arguing the whole time, then Jesus really can't tell them to, hey, we need to get these things done, guys. Doesn't work, So there was a lot of time to just, again, build those relationships and to have time in prayer, and just to kind of go through some logistic things of, okay, how, and these were things we had talked about before, but it kind of, now was able to sink in a little bit more, because we've been meeting a little bit, but we haven't been meeting in the way we will eventually meet as like a leadership team of, okay, we're a united front. We know who we are. We know our mission. We know what we do. We know why we do it. And now let's do the work. We're getting there,
And just to refresh, some of the intention behind the structure of this is leading from the apostles around
Correct.
Jesus.
Yes.
That our pastor is in place of Jesus.
Yes.
And the leadership team is acting like his apostles.
Yes.
To serve him and to reduce the amount of burden on him directly.
Correct. So the thought is that, yeah, we're kind of the Peter, James, and John level, and then we disseminate out from there to staff, which would be like the apostles who go and run and do many things, and then from there go out to the ministries, and from there go out to the laity at large. So yeah, it's that's kind of the structure of it. But more what we did this week was really taking time to learn how to be with one another. And what I mean by that is
Trust falls.
No, thank God we did not do trust falls. But we did learn how to think about, okay, what are we thinking and feeling? So starting a meeting and saying, okay, where's everybody at? And then from there, saying, okay, now that I know where others are, can I have more compassion for them? Where am I at? Having the ability to say, what's my mood? Am I in a position to be giving good advice, or am I grumpy? Do I need to eat something? Like literally just being able to understand and know yourself. And then by knowing yourself, then you can come and be more charitable and loving to those around you. Because if you're just like grumpy, if you're Mr. Grump and you need to just go grab a Snickers bar and take a break for 2 seconds, then you can just, in the group, because it should be more transparent, these are a group of people that you are willing to share and know more about them intimately, as more like a family than you would with other people. So you should be able to say, hey, wait, I need 2 minutes. I got to go grab a Snickers bar. I need to take a second here, or, hey, something's weird in me right now. Can you guys pray over me? And just like, I need a little bit of prayer here before we get going.
So teaching you guys to be vulnerable
yes,
with each other.
Vulnerable. That's a great word for it. And, we had adoration, and we had mass. And interestingly enough, we joined in the mornings, mass and the liturgy of the hours, which I'd never done before, which was super cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Oh.
And I don't think it's like the common way of doing it, but just because our time was so compacted, it wasn't like there was enough time for all the priests together and the deacons and say, hey, we need you to, we're going to take 20 minutes and we're going to do the liturgy of the hours. And then, at like 7:30 in the morning, we need you to get ready for mass too. So just trying to give a little bit more space for people to do what they needed to do. And then the priests and deacons kind of changed off each day with the mass. And, so it was good. We, the archdiocese came, Archbishop was there for a little while. He prayed with us. He had, some time with us. It was just really wonderful.
Nice.
'Cause he's a busy man.
Yeah.
And his
We're
team,
a big archdiocese.
his team came too, and they're super busy. And they're in the back and they're on their computers doing some things too, because they've got just like, they're running an archdiocese. There's a lot of stuff to deal with, but they just, because they came, it was so, it was wonderful to see them. And then we have a director of mission at the archdiocese to like really help build and help ministries and mission to happen within our diocese. And so he's on board and helped kind of go through and say, all right, let's talk about, kind of the idea of priests, prophets, and kings, and how those interact into making disciples, and how that affects us as well. And then we actually had different groups that would pray over us at different times, like when we were ready for it. Not like confession, but just like, hey, I need prayer. I'm struggling. And like for me personally, I even when I was on the men's retreat, I just felt like I couldn't quite get to God. Like there were a couple of moments that like I felt just I could let him flow and be within me and feel just totally one-on-one and consolation. But then at this retreat, it was, my prayer was, hey, God, I've got a wall. I don't know what the wall is. Tear it down, and, in the background, I'm hearing Pink Floyd, tear down the wall, tear down the wall. Just slightly. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was there. And so, having people to pray over me and to just really have that time with Jesus and Mary was super, super helpful to really help like get to a point with this weekend. It felt like a weekend, but a really, 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 really long weekend. But yeah, just to be able to learn and be given so much information. And I'm going to be spending like the next probably 2-3 weeks with our team digesting and understanding. The coolest thing that came out of it was, we started talking about like, what is the mission for our parish? And rather than just, everybody say, well, I prayed on it and this is what I think and this is what we should do. It was, okay, there's some ideas going here. We're going to write them down. We're going to think on them. And then we're going to go in prayer for 10-15 minutes. And then we're going to come back. And what's the Spirit calling you to? What's God calling you to with this? And being open and vulnerable and saying, that my idea, that just wasn't right. And then saying, well, no. I think we, where you said calling, we should pull that in. I think that's true about our parish, And so everybody's doing this exercise. And one of the parishes that was there, they'd already gotten theirs pretty well there, So they were kind of doing a review and kind of a prayer to say, hey, is this still right? Yes, it is. Okay, great. And they were moving on to, okay, here's the mission of their parish, and then what's the why does this team exist, and just really getting into the root of things of like, why is this happening? Why are we doing what we're doing, and why should we be doing it? So we were, as our team, we're really just going, I think we came up with like 4 or 5 or 6 different versions of the mission statement for the parish. But I think it really came together, and I think Father's going to mention it on Tuesday, maybe, to you guys.
Okay.
So you'll have to give me, I don't want to like tell you. I want
All
you
right.
to just be surprised and see what your honest opinion is with the rest of the staff.
Okay.
But I think it's you're going to go, yeah, that makes sense. Duh. It's what we are.
Okay.
So we'll see.
All right.
But
TBD.
yeah, so it was, a couple of hours of going back and forth on this. That was really what we were there to do, was say, what is the mission? And then start to understand, what are we doing as this leadership team? And how are we going to do the work over however long it's going to take, the next 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it is. And we'll evolve over that time. But, as we all understand that this is a group of people that are coming together to make decisions for the benefit of the parish and enact them, help find the people that need to do them. So it was really good.
Have they talked about any plan to bring this to all parishes, or to rotate all parishes through this over a period?
Yes, I think so. From what I heard, they invited many parishes to be involved in this, and 4 parishes said yes.
Oof.
So again, I think we've talked about it before, but it's this changing of the mindset. We've been in Christendom. Everything's good. Everybody speaks the same language. I'm in maintenance mode.
Everyone knows who Jesus is.
Right. I just need to do the mass, and we got ministries, and we got all these other things, and so we're good, and we'll save souls. Versus if you take a rational look at where we are as a culture today, we are not a Christendom culture anymore. We are in an apostolic age. Most people don't know they might not even have heard of Jesus. That's where we're at now. 2, if they have heard, they have no real understanding or idea. And they really don't have an understanding or idea of who God is, and, any kind of understanding of creation. It's gone out of our culture. The culture is now, you do whatever you want. And if it makes you feel good, then you should do it. And morality,
and there's consent.
Ethics, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because consent is like the highest level, more than ethics.
Yeah.
Really.
Right. So
consent,
which is very different than what we believe, and what we understand as the truth. So we are now in a point where we need to be back in the mindset of the apostles, saying, hey, let me introduce you to Jesus Christ. Let me tell you about him. And we have to start by living that way and building up our communities, and then reaching out person by person, just as the apostles did. So it's exciting, because it changes some of the fears that we had been, before of, oh, well, should I invite somebody to go to mass with me? Versus maybe I should just start a prayer group in my house and invite my neighbor. Very different modes, both good, but it's going to take a little bit of time, I think, to entrench that in the culture of our parish, and many parishes across, or at least our diocese, and I think the country is going to have to do this. If we do not do this, if we don't shift the way we think about how we evangelize and how we exist, we are going to be left behind. I mean, we already are being left behind, I think, and we're a little behind the 8 ball, because Fulton Sheen was saying these things back in the 60s. That's how far behind we are. But, we're a church, and that church takes a long time to kind of turn the boat.
Yeah.
So we're there. We're turning the boat. We're starting to get back to mission. It's good. But it's going to take a little time. So yeah, it was a good retreat. I think I went to bed at 10 and I woke up at like 10:30. That's how tired I
You were
was.
wiped.
And
We'll talk about the situation in the hotel. There was a little bit of built-in suffering.
So, all right, on the weekend, up at the YMCA, it's cold. Rightly so. I'm in the mountains. It's cold in the mountains. I get it. It could have been a little warmer. Just gonna say. But then, I'm in the middle of the city here, and you would think that we would have nice warm retreat space that we could be in, conference spaces. Nope. The boilers broke. Luckily, some of our guest rooms had heat. Not all of them. Some of them did.
Yours did the last night, right?
Mine was roasting the last night. The other nights it was pretty decent. It was better. The first time I was there, I didn't have heat though. It was cold. Yeah. So they've just had some problems.
Are you sure that the Archdiocese isn't just springing for the heat package?
I'm pretty sure because
it's a la carte at these reservation hotels, and there's a menu.
We're hearing, the frustrations that they've been having, because we'll hear them. The maintenance people will be walking around and they're like, "Yeah, we've been trying to get the mechanical people out here for 5 days, and now they're finally getting here." It was like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, that's part of the package, is subterfuge and no heat.
Yeah, totally. So then we hear that the ownership group of the hotel said they don't want to pay for the temporary heat because it's too expensive, and they're going back and forth on how it's going to get. They're going to get it fixed. I feel like that should be
contractually obligated if you're reserving conference space.
Nope.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, I think it was Wednesday. They came into us when the Archbishop was there, and they're like, "Hey, we're having a hard time getting this figured out, and we don't know when we're going to get anything back. We're trying to get hot water tonight."
You've been doing cold showers?
No, luckily not. But they asked us, they're like, "Hey, could you guys pray for us?" We're like, "Yeah, of course, we'll pray for you." And none of us were like, "This is the worst hotel ever, and this conference center sucks." And, none of those things, which
antagonistic to the mission of being
a lot
there.
of groups, they come in, they're having a conference, and they're like, I paid for this, and you didn't give it. I'm upset. That's the norm. And we didn't do that. We're like, "Hey, you guys keep working on it. We'll keep praying. And, thank you for all your hard service." Everybody's thanking them all the time. And
you guys get a reverse tip.
Yeah, kind of. So it was Wednesday, I think it was. Wednesday about midday. In the back of house space, all of a sudden you hear, "Oh, bleep." And then people start running around, and then you start hearing water dripping.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so because they didn't have heat on, they had a frozen pipe and it burst. Oh. One of the main pipes of the building. Yeah.
This has been a hard winter.
Yeah. So, they had to fix that too, amongst everything else. And then finally, I think it was Wednesday night, we had heaters in our chapel space to keep it warm.
Everyone could have gone home and grabbed a space heater, although then
they had space heaters
to the grid.
Yeah. So it was a mess. So I had on average 4 to 5 layers plus my jacket on at all times. And most everybody else did, until finally on Thursday before we left, they had heat again. We're like, "Our prayers have been answered. We got you heat," because they were like, "How are we even going to afford this?" And ownership doesn't want to pay for the repairs. And then they got heat.
Goodness.
Yeah. And they got the water leak solved. So craziness.
Yeah.
So thus I get a cold because I've been literally in cold weather for like a week, and that's what my body's response is. I did this as a kid. I would just get a cold.
You have viruses around you all the time, but your immune system is strong normally, but it weakens you.
Yeah, so it's not bad. And I did hear, it sounds like one of the other people that was on the retreat in our parish is sick now. So something was going around. I didn't bring it from the Rockies
That's
men's
where
retreat.
You were up there with 300 people.
I know.
For sure you got sick up there.
Right? Because, men actually wash their hands. Forget about it. Ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah. but I'm unscathed and filled with the Holy Spirit, and it was good.
And the next time they're supposed to have a retreat, you won't be there.
I know so they asked us to open, and that was the first thing I said is I'm probably not going to be here for the next retreat because I'll have a baby. So
either that week or very right before.
I don't know. Either way.
That's our drop dead date.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So, but for now, it was good. We have a lot of work to do, a lot of unpacking to do of the stuff that they gave us. And our pastor, he's super excited about it. It was a really good weekend for him and for the team. So, huzzah.
Yeah. Back-to-back retreats.
I know. No more. I'm done. Uncle.
Well, it was good. I mean, we carried on without you. We missed you. I honestly think our youngest daughter, I don't know, I think she was affected by your absence a little bit because she just wasn't sleeping well. And she was always up when I got up in the morning. And ever since you got back, that has not been happening.
She gave me a lot of big hugs when I got in that door.
Yeah. I think she missed her daddy.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Well, anybody you know would like to know about us, catholichitch@gmail.com. And tell us how you guys are doing. If you've been on a retreat, learned anything fun, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
May the Lord guide and direct our journey.
Amen.